Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 6. Yeah. So we're about 2/3 of the way, roughly. Or maybe exactly, anyway. Roughly, we'll just say roughly. Is it exactly? No, we're just under. Anyway, whatever. We're around 2/3 of the way through this season of The Flash, and I've already had like a lot of cool moments play out so far this season. I'm sure there's a bunch that you guys could pick and maybe make a top 10 list if you wanted to. But I think one Flash-orientated or focused moment that would have, that would have to be in I guess the majority of people's, let's just say top 3 for this season, would have to be the Ezra Miller surprise cameo scene in the 4th part or second last episode of the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event from the end of last year and beginning of this year. This moment just opened up like various possibilities for the live action DC multiverse as a whole, as it obviously connected both the movie and TV universes, which of course I'm pretty sure blew a lot of our minds. But it also just opened up what could be in the future in regards to future crossovers with those two different sides, even though it's, I guess I'd actually probably put it into the highly unlikely category you'll get any major crossovers in regards to that, but it just opens up the possibility for it in the future. Now, as we should all know by now, this scene with Ezra Miller and Grant Gustin in Crisis was filmed after the rest of Crisis has done filming. That scene was filmed around the middle of December. I think it actually was filmed on the day that Part 2 aired, which was the Batwoman episode, I think, from memory. So pretty much at that point, the shows had gone back to filming their normal scenes at that point. There was no more Crisis filming, so they actually had to bring Ezra in and film on... That was for the Arrow episode, but they had to use Flash crew because Arrow had wrapped at that point. So it was a bit of a mishmash, if you want to call it, in regards to getting that scene done. But of course, as we know, Warner Brothers specifically asked the people in charge of Crisis to put Ezra Miller's Flash from the film side of DC into the crossover, and that's exactly what they did, and we got that cool scene. Now, at this point, most of us probably thought, or at that point, might I say, most of us probably thought that, that was the end of it all, and it was just a cool one-off cameo for Ezra in regards to him appearing on TV, and then maybe we could see Grant Gustin's Flash from the TV show of The Flash, cameo in the movies at some point, maybe in the upcoming movie for The Flash, or in some other, in some other form. But in regards to that, it was like specifically Ezra's like one and only appearance in the TV show. But apparently, according to an online scooper source, that might not actually be the case. We might be getting another one. Now, as I always say with various information like this that I'm not getting firsthand, we should take this with a grain of salt, especially when I say the next thing. But the source for this information is unclear. And I say unclear because there's actually, I haven't been able to find an actual physical source of it coming from this particular person. And due to that, it pretty much just puts it into the unclear category when there's nothing like that. But from what various people have told me, and from what I've been able to look up myself in regards to people talking about this on both Twitter and Reddit, I usually don't go on Reddit, but I had to look up this because I couldn't actually find anything. But apparently, from what everyone's saying, Daniel RPK from Twitter, who is a fairly known scooper, I guess, is the source for this. Now, is he 100% correct all the time? No. Pretty much none of the entertainment scoopers, if you want to call them, are 100% correct. And in regards to Daniel RPK, I guess after the Avengers Endgame fiasco with some others, it's hard to say 100% correct. Now, he also usually isn't affiliated with any of the DC TV stuff. I don't think I've ever seen anything in regards to that from him, because that's not where his focus would be. I've never really seen any stuff from him in regards to that. But seeing that this is connected to the Flash from the movies and the DCEU, which he would usually report on and has been reporting on, this information has some base and, I guess, foundation to it all. So, as I said, still take it with a grain of salt, but because it involves the movie side, I guess you can say, hey, maybe there's some actual legitimacy to this. Now, the information for this isn't that intense, from what I know. It's simply that Ezra Miller is set to appear in The Flash later this season. That's pretty much it. There's no specific details in regards to episode number, how he appears, how long he's in the episode for, or anything like that. There's literally, or like when he was in Vancouver filming, if he did go to Vancouver to film, there's no information in regards to that. Pretty much the information is, hey, he's going to be in the show later this season, and that's it. Now, that's why that adds into the whole taking with a grain of salt, because usually, if you're going to come out with this information, it would actually have some more base to it. Or if you're going to report on it, you'd have some sort of more you'd have a greater foundation to it all. So I'm inclined to somewhat believe it, but I also have my major hesitations with it, and I just want to make that clear to you guys. But I thought I'd present this information to you just in case, it happens, and just to get your thoughts on it. Now, if this is true, when could it be? Now, this is actually a big thing because we actually are limited in regards to when this episode could be, and I guess it's even more limited now due to what's been happening on set, which we'll talk about in a second as well. Even if the thing, like the illness that is going around the world hadn't happened, Ezra Miller's appearance would have to most likely be in episode 20 or before, maybe even episode 19 or earlier. And that's mainly because Fantastic Beasts 3, the new Harry Potter spin-off universe movie thing, is about to start filming, I think this week, or at least it was set to. It might be postponed because of, what's going around the world, but at least it was set to start filming. So Ezra would have to be in England where it's being filmed in advance. You don't just turn up on the day of set and start filming. Well, if you're a decent actor, you don't do that. So you'd have to be there at least a week or two, if not maybe before, if you have to do training and stuff like that. So he would have to be there a decent amount of time before. So that really limits the episode number, maybe even more. I'd say maybe episode 19, even if you want to argue, maybe even episode 18 is the latest he could have appeared. And then straight after filming Fantastic Beasts, he does go on to film the Flash movie, which is rumored to start in September, but maybe that will be delayed because of what's going on. I don't think the Flash movie needs another delay. It's like Flash versus New Mutants. Which movie gets delayed the most? Hopefully it's not the Flash. But in regards to his future appearance, what could it be? When could it be set? What could we expect in regards to all of this? Now, obviously, the one we got in Crisis was the Speed Force thing. Now, I think that's most likely what you would get, because if they did it in public or anything like that, it's going to spoil it, and obviously we'd already know if it was set in public or filmed in public and everything like that if it did happen. So I'd have to assume it would be something Speed Force orientated as well. It would be cool if it's something about, what's happening with the Speed Force at the moment on the show, where, Barry recreates it or something along those lines, and maybe various speedsters feel the change in it. Like it being brought back to life and everything like that. That would be a pretty cool cameo appearance. And you never know, maybe they might have made it that when Ezra was there to film in Crisis, they could have made it that maybe he filmed this quick cameo as well, because at that point they probably would have had that scene written or what was going on, because Ezra actually filmed his scene when they were filming episode 14, or they were about to film, I think, the one we just watched, the death of the Speed Force. That's when he was in Vancouver filming his cameo scene. So they might have already had the script ready in regards to what was happening in future episodes when Barry maybe fixes the Speed Force, and maybe they could have a quick scene which Ezra could have filmed there and then as well. Because you got to remember that scene wasn't too long that he was there for, so maybe they thought, hey, we'll make our time worth it, we might add something else. So he might not have actually had to go back to Vancouver to film anything, he might have filmed it there and then. But there's nothing that really gives us any concrete information on that. That's pretty much just me speculating at the moment, because of when that cameo was filmed, and at that point where the story was in regards to what the Flash had filmed at that point. So, I don't know. As I said, I'm not 100% sure on this. I'm just going off the fact that it is being reported by what seems to be a reliable source. So it's really just about, I guess, waiting and finding out, I guess. But I probably wouldn't expect it for a couple of episodes if he is going to appear. But you never know. Maybe it's this week. Maybe when Barry potentially fixes the Speed Force. Maybe it's this week. Who knows? But in regards to The Flash, I'm sure a lot of you have already heard this information with the pandemic that's going around the world. Various things are getting cancelled, postponed, delayed, moved, restructured, lockdown, no crowds at sporting events and various things like that. Well, with the TV production and movie production side of things, it's having a massive effect on that as well. So the first information which I went over in a video a couple of days ago was that Riverdale had been shut down. Their production had been shut down because an actor, I think it's been confirmed as an actor, went to a party where someone at the party was infected, and then they got the infection and then took it to set with them, and then they had to shut it down. So it wasn't even a crew member. Apparently it was a confirmed cast member, which is insane, which makes it, I guess it's the same, it doesn't really matter, but yeah, it was one of the actors. Now, this has followed on over the next couple of days afterwards, where now all of the DC TV that's still filming has now been shut down until a later date. So Flash, Batwoman, Supergirl is down, and Supergirl only had a couple of days left of filming. I think they had 3 days left of filming for the entire season, and they shut it down, which is pretty crazy. You think they might have seen it through, but they didn't. Like all the shows like Supernatural and everything have been shut down. Luckily for like Legends of Tomorrow, they finished filming a month and a half ago roughly, so their season's done. They don't have to worry about it, so they'll release their episodes as they come. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in regards to when they release the episodes, but there is a delay in filming. And the rumor that's coming out from specifically Warner Brothers is that they are holding off filming until the beginning of April. They're going to check the situation, the environment, if you want to call it, at that point, and then they'll go back to filming in April, and that's when they're aiming to. Because the thing is, if this thing's uncontrollable, it's not really going to matter where you are. Like, let's be completely honest. So they may as well go back and work. But that's for us to wait and find out in like the next 2 to 3 weeks. But we should get more information in that like 2-week period. But they won't be filming. But we should get episodes coming out as normal, at least until maybe like episode 18. Then maybe they might have to take some drastic measures where they take longer breaks. But that's for us to wait and find out. And you never know. Maybe the Ezra Miller thing, maybe the infection will stop that Fantastic Beasts 3 movie from happening for a bit. Maybe they'll delay production then. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Who knows? Let's just hope the Flash movie doesn't get delayed anymore, because that'll just hurt my brain. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on this. Would you like Ezra Miller to come back in a cameo? Are you in line with my thinking where as I was saying, like, he might have already filmed the scene when he was already up there to film the Crisis thing, just because of where they were in regards to normal Flash episodes filming? It wouldn't surprise me if they did that. So are you in line with that thinking, that maybe they filmed something special then to put in a later episode? Let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.